Hey guys, welcome back. I know it's been a tough time for all of us while the pandemic is going on.
The city of Townsville is on fire!
But it's a good time to catch up on all your missed shows and future programs. And for me, it's a good time to finish watching one of my favorite love-hate shows, Steven Universe, and its sequel series, Steven Universe Future. Now that the series is finished for good, and we have all the media, except for the comics, done and over with, I thought it would be a good time to go over the entire show's character roster, ranking them all weakest to strongest. But before I talk about any of the gems in the show, I should go over the abilities that all of them, or at least nearly all of them, possess. Firstly, gems are not physical beings, and are actually hard light constructs, similar to the abilities the Green Lanterns use. Now, if the light part of their bodies is damaged enough, they will poof back into their gems, which are located somewhere on their bodies. While they are like this, they are vulnerable and need to regenerate, the rate of which depends on the gem or what damage they take. Sometimes it takes a few seconds, and other times it takes a few weeks. On top of this, gems can summon weapons at will, ranging from maces to swords to spears and many other things. While being able to do this, gems can also shapeshift, taking on pretty much any shape they want. Kind of like Ditto from Pokemon. Gems are a spacefaring race and have a bunch of abilities based around this, such as never aging and automatically adapting to gravity, giving them resistance to gravity hacks and aging hacks, which is a type of time hacks.
Moon Boy, quadruple backflip!
Hey, why can't I be a moon boy?
We're gems. We're a spacefaring race designed to conquer other worlds. Our physical forms adjust automatically to the gravity of any planetoid.
Okay.
If you want to know what hexes are, you can watch my video about it. On top of all of this, gems can fuse together, making an even stronger gem. When two or more gems of the same gem type fuse together, they just make a bigger version of themselves. But when two different gems fuse together, they create an entirely new gem. And as with most of the crystal gems, they can create bubbles to seal their opponents away. And last but not least, all gems have a mental scape that holds an inner version of themselves, being able to store anything in their own gems at the surface level. And their mental state seems to have endless layers to it.
Gems
Are like onions. They stink?
Yes.
No. Oh, they make you cry? No! Layers!
Now let's start off by talking about the three main gems: Pearl, Garnet, and Amethyst. Firstly, let's go over Pearl. Pearl was originally the servant of Pink Diamond, who later became Rose Quartz. Pearl has been shown to be a graceful fighter, a tactician, and a devoted servant to Rose Quartz.
Why won't you just let me do you, Rose?
And who's that? Oh, it's Mr. MVP! Sim!
Putting her life on the line, as stated by Garnet in the episode Sworn of the Sword, which happens to be one of my favorite episodes, because a woman of color is brainwashed by a white woman to be the servant of a fat, straight, cisgendered white guy. Truly progressive, Rebecca. The only way to top this is to have Steven say, Pearl has been shown to summon clones of herself, similar to Naruto Uzumaki, and her clones have enough attack power to one-shot her, at least on one occasion. Which was actually the first poof in the entire series. Additionally, Pearl has been shown to be able to control these clones, as shown in Volleyball Friends. Pearl has access to other strange forms of hacks, such as in Sworn of the White Man, sworn to be the sword. Pearl was able to conjure up a mist to make Connie's training harder, and in the episode Giant Woman, Pearl was even able to manipulate sand, proving that she's a hard counter to Anakin Skywalker.
I don't get it.
As for Pearl's intelligence, Pearl, just to summon her weapon, well, she has to do this.
Pay attention to these petals, Steven. The petals dance seems improvised, but it is being calculated in real time based on the physical properties of this planet. With hard work and dedication, you can master the magical properties of your gem and perform your own dance. Like so.
The fuck are you talking about? The fuck are you talking about?
Which is an incredible intelligence feat. On top of this, in the episode Space Race, Pearl was able to conjure up her own spaceship in one day, by herself. with scrap metal.
Pearl.
I was able to build this in a cave! With a box of scraps!
Pearl claimed with the ship she made, she would be able to take herself and Steven to the nearest star system and back in 50 years. Now, unfortunately, I have no idea what Pearl means by nearest star system, but assuming she's talking about the nearest star to Earth, Alpha Centauri, which is 4.37 light years away, then we have everything we need to do the math. Now, the speed calculation is very simple. It's just distance divided by time. So we just take the distance of Alpha Centauri and double it, making it come out to 8.74 light years. We then divide it by 50 years, and the speed comes out to be 117,223.8 kilometers per hour, or 72,839.5 miles per hour, which is Mach 95.7. Making the ship Pearl built Hypersonic Plus, and just under massively hypersonic. In the episode Gem Heist, Pearl was able to hack into the hyper-advanced homeworld technology, where even archaic technology, like the diamond control room on the moon, which was able to plan out the entirety of Earth's future. And this technology is even more advanced, as stated by Lapis in Message Received. On top of all of this, Pearl was able to construct a mech suit, eventually, to fight against Peridot. Speaking of Peridot, Pearl was able to repair one of Peridot's machines to create an EMP that wiped out all electricity on Beach City in the episode Political Power. Now, enough about how much of a galaxy brain Pearl is, we want to know how strong she is. She has been shown to be stronger than Amethyst, when Amethyst went full psycho and attacked her in the episode On the Run. In the episode The Answer, we see Pearl take out 2 quartz guards in a single hit. Now we'll get to how strong each quartz soldier is later on in the video. She has been shown to be a master with spears and swords, and her spear can shoot out lasers. Now we finally got an idea of how strong Pearl is in the universe of, well, Steven Universe, but how fast is she? Well, throughout the series, she has been shown to be extremely athletic and graceful. She should be at least as fast as Garnet. In the episode Adventures in Light Distortion, we see Pearl is easily able to pilot the Roaming Eye, which is a type of ship the Gems use. But just how fast is the Roaming Eye? Well, it's extremely fast. A calculation was done by some very smart people, and the Roaming Eye came out to be 101,393,586 miles per second, or 33% the speed of light. So her relative reaction speed, and possibly her combat speed, should be pretty close to it. So we've gone over in detail just how powerful Pearl is, but what about the little psychopath Amethyst? Amethyst is an Earth gem, unlike Pearl and Garnet. And also unlike Pearl and Garnet, she was overcooked, meaning she spent too much time in the ground, which is how the gems are made. Because she came out wrong, she is weaker than the normal quartz soldier, and a hell of a lot shorter. Amethyst is more of a brawler and buster, mixing her totally not a ripoff of Sonic melee attacks with her ranged weapons. In the Guide to the Crystal Gems, an official guidebook created by Rebecca Sugar, it states Amethyst can never fight evenly with Garnet in a one-on-one fight, even though it's technically a two-on-one fight, but whatever. Meaning she should scale to Garnet in a lesser capacity for durability and attack power. When it comes to Amethyst's other traits, such as her intelligence, well, she's a complete psychopath. And psychopaths are theorized to be smarter than the average person. As for Amethyst's hacks, we have things such as her rapid regeneration, as shown after she was poofed by Jasper. Amethyst's main gimmick is her transformation abilities, which can increase her strength for a few minutes. Personally, I like to think it's a 2x multiplier. When it comes to her weapon, she can summon a whip, later upgraded to a Morning Star by Bismuth. Amethyst is most notable for her contributions to fusions. Now moving on to Garnet, the leader of the Crystal Gems, after Rose Quartz, of course. But real quick, before we delve into Garnet, we have to talk about the two gems she came from, Ruby and Sapphire. Rubies are actually the most common type of gem seen throughout the Steven Universe series, which makes sense considering they're common soldiers. But despite being common soldiers, they actually have a few pretty good feats. For example, in the episode A Room for Ruby, the Ruby Steven named Navy falls through the atmosphere. Kind of like Master Chief, but there's only a few Spartans while there's an entire army of rubies. The episode also has a strong message about anti-immigration, about how if you let illegal aliens in, they'll steal your ship and fly off with it. This is why we need to build a wall, and we need to have the gems flip the bill for it.
Oh please, don't make me go back to
Mexico.
Similar to Red Hulk from Marvel Comics, the angrier a Ruby gets, the hotter they get. Such as when Ruby got so angry at Sapphire and Pearl, she managed to boil a pool in just a few seconds. Making water reach the boiling point really isn't all that impressive, but making an entire pool's worth of water reach the boiling point in less than 10 seconds is extremely impressive. But the most notable thing about the rubies was when one of them was able to tank a direct hit from a roaming eye. Now, remember how I said before that Pearl was able to navigate this while it was moving at 33% the speed of light? Well, someone was able to calculate the amount of energy the ruby tanked. The kinetic energy came out to be 274 megatons of force. That's enough to destroy a mountain. And keep in mind, these rubies can harm each other. So logically, each ruby themselves can destroy a mountain. But how impressive is Ruby's intelligence? Well, I gotta be honest guys, rubies are pretty stupid. The rubies mistook the crystal gems for humans just because they said they were humans. The ruby that was a part of the crystal gems joined a group of 5 rubies, and they didn't even notice because they struggle counting past the number 5. As for the other gem that makes up Garnet, Sapphire, she is more hacks-oriented. We never see Sapphire fight outside of her fusion form. After the reveal that Rose Quartz was Pink Diamond, Sapphire left and went to Rose's fountain. While she was there, she accidentally caused a hailstorm. But the best ability that Sapphire has is her future sight. Her future sight is so impressive, I think it's even better than Garnet's future sight. I don't know, maybe it's because rubies are so dumb that they mess up a Sapphire's future vision. Now at long last, we can finally move on to their fusion form, Garnet, which actually might not be a real Garnet according to Blue Diamond.
Garnet? Does that call herself a Garnet?
That's racist.
But anyway, how powerful is Garnet? Since she is the key part of how we scale the other crystal gems. Well, at the end of Season 1, the crystal gems used 4 of Rose's light cannons on the ship Peridot and Jasper were piloting, and it didn't even slow it down. Even Opal, the fusion of Amethyst and Pearl, could just barely slow it down. Now what makes this interesting is that the output of a single laser light cannon is, after some complex calculations, 79.5 gigatons of force, or enough energy to destroy an island. And now we simply need to multiply that by 4, and we get 318.36 gigatons, which is fairly into large island level. Now, what makes this interesting is that in the famous song, Stronger Than You, Garnet throws Jasper into the gem's warship core, causing it to explode. Here we see it broke through the outer shell of the gem warship, and Garnet basically took it point blank, unlike Jasper, who completely took it point blank. As for her more casual and minor feats, Garnet has knocked a corrupted gem so hard that it caused a mountainside to fall. Garnet has a surprising number of hacks. Now of course she has the abilities of both Ruby and Sapphire, such as Ruby's extreme durability, and Sapphire's ability to see into the future. Now remember when I said that Ruby was so hot that she made an entire swimming pool reach the boiling point? Well, Garnet can swan dive into lava. Is lava hot to her? No, to her it's just an ice bath. Matt Burnett, sorry if I pronounced her last name wrong, said that Garnet requires temperatures as hot as the core of the sun just to relax. For those of you who don't know, the core of the sun is over 15 million degrees Celsius. On top of all of this, Garnet has been shown to be totally immune to electricity, and can produce her own electricity, as shown in her fight with Peridot. She can produce massive shock waves with her fist, as shown in the Gem Harvest. And in a fight against her water clone created by Lapis Lazuli, we'll get to her later, their fists just colliding together created a crater in the ground. They didn't even touch it! Garnet can give her power of precognition to other people. Not sure how this would help her in a fight, but I thought I should mention it. Now, if you thought Amethyst was good at gem transformations, you haven't seen anything yet. In the episode Secret Team, Garnet does, well, this.
Come with me, Steven. Garnet!
12 seconds later.
Garnet?
Yep, Garnet just took down Pearl and Amethyst at the same time. Next, let's move on to Garnet's intelligence. As Steven said, she's both brains and bronze. First, similar to Pearl, Garnet has to do, well, this, which is even more impressive than Pearl.
You can link your mind with the energy of all existing matter, channeling the collective power of the universe through your gem, which results in... At least that's my way of doing it.
So now that we're done with the main three, who are we going to talk about next? Well, the next gem we're going to be talking about is one of the most powerful gems in all of existence, and is the most powerful of all the crystal gems on Earth, aside from being diamond, of course. No, it's not bismuth. No, it's not jasper. It's Lapis Lazuli. Now, personally, I believe, aside from the diamonds and certain fusions, that the Lapis Lazulis are the strongest gems. In Steven Universe Future, 2 Lapis Lazulis were terraforming
some alien planet.
Steven tried to get them to stop, but they refused to. Keep in mind, they know that Steven is Pink Diamond. Granted, they may believe that Steven is the weakest of the diamonds, but a diamond nonetheless. The main Lapis Lazuli took them both out by herself.
Who's dull now? Who's pitiful now?
Well, we're fucked.
Remember how we mentioned that Garnet fought a water clone of herself? Well, Lapis created a water clone of Garnet, Amethyst, Pearl, and Steven. And the water clones are arguably more powerful than their real counterparts. For one thing, they don't have a weak spot, and they can regenerate instantly. They also have a few unique abilities of their own. Oh, and at the time this happened, Lapis' gem was cracked, so she wasn't at her full power. Oh yeah, and while she was doing all of this, in a weakened state, she was holding up a water tower that was millions of meters tall. Now there has been a few calculations of how tall this tower is, and how fast she made it. We know she did this during the night before the sunrise, but we don't know if she took 12 hours making it or 1 hour making it. Now I could go into the math, but I'm just going to put them up on screen because this video is long enough. The point is, if we lowball how fast she made the tower, she would be planet surface level. If we highballed it, she would be moon level. Now I know I said this before, but she was in a weakened state at the time. So what can she do when she's at full power? Well, after Steven healed her gem, she grew wings and said she was going to fly back to Homeworld. But where is Homeworld? Is it located in our galaxy? Well, according to Garnet, when she was talking with Peridot, she looked up at the stars and said, "You can see Homeworld's galaxy from here." The closest galaxy to the Milky Way galaxy is the Andromeda galaxy, which is over 2 million light years away. But just like with the water tower, we don't know exactly how long she took to get there. Lapis, you're making it really hard to do calculations when we have the distance but not the time. But no significant amount of time has passed considering Steven looks exactly the same. So at most, I would say it only took her a few months to get there. Now the diamonds are said to be the most powerful gems by far. So if a lapis is this powerful, what can a diamond do? Well, the diamonds were able to corrupt practically every gem on Earth, and they did this from Homeworld with the corrupting light. The corrupting light reached Earth in 3 seconds. Assuming Homeworld is in the Andromeda galaxy, that would mean the corrupting light was traveling over 26 trillion times the speed of light. Yeah, good luck dodging that. Now granted, most of the Diamond's abilities seem to only work on other gems, but we have seen Blue Diamond's emotional hacks work on humans such as Connie. But that was Yellow, Blue, and White Diamond. What can Pink Diamond, aka Steven Universe, do? Now before we talk about her, or him, or they, or them, we need to talk about the cluster. The cluster is a combination of a whole bunch of shattered gems, all fused together. According to Peridot, once the cluster formed in the center of the Earth, it would destroy the Earth. Not because the cluster is the same size as the Earth, it's actually much bigger. So yeah, the cluster just forming is large planet level. But as impressive as the crystal gems, Lapis, the diamonds, and even the cluster are, Steven is still above all of them. In Steven's most powerful form, Godzilla Steven, the fusion of Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl weren't able to stop him. Lapis Lazuli wasn't able to stop him. The diamonds weren't able to stop him. The fucking cluster wasn't able to stop him. Just his roar knocked all of them over, including the diamonds and the diamonds' flagship. They didn't stop Godzilla Steven with brute force. They defeated him with hugs. Yep. Oh, and apparently Garnet can become as big as Godzilla Steven. What? Now guys, unfortunately, I'm going to end the video here. I want to continue, I do have plenty of more feats and statements I could go over, but this video already took twice as long to make as all my other videos. But if this video does really well, I will make a part 2. Now until this whole pandemic is over, I'm only going to be making videos once every 2 weeks. YouTube just isn't paying out as much, and I want to really focus on videos I really want to make. But unfortunately, those videos take more time. But I'm also working on another project on the side. No spoilers yet, but when it's finally out, trust me, the wait will be worth it.
Secret team.
My eyes have seen the glory of the cleansing of YouTube, debunking SJWs and feminazis too. We criticize reactionists in hopes they get the boot. Just the robot marches on.